Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be on 5 steps to building lasting fitness habits. We're just going to run right into it. So, step 1 is to audit your time. Do not skip this step. I'm a firm believer in order to get from point A to point B, you need to understand where point A actually is. Otherwise, you don't know how to get to point B from where you're at. So, it's going to take a lot of accountability in this step, but auditing your time. You're going to take account of where you're spending most of your focus and energy. I don't want to say even in the most minute things, but you're going to account for things like your job, your kids, partner, friends, reading, watching TV, mindless scrolling on social media. You want to track all of that stuff, eating, cooking, how much time you are spending on exercise or some type of movement. You want to take an audit of all of that. I would say at least for 3 days, because you want to see what's consistent, right? And I'll tell you why in a second. But I would say for at least 3 days. If you can, do it for a week. And the reason why I say this is because you're going to have a multitude of new habits and routines that you are going to probably end up wanting to implement into your life. So, and the reason I say multitude is because when you're looking to make a change in your fitness and health, it is a lifestyle change. So there's not just like a one thing that you're going to be changing about your routine and about you and what things that you do. It's a lot of stuff about how you go about your day and the things that you eat and what your focus is on, because a lot of times this can be very time consuming and feel like a full-time job. Hence the 5 steps to creating lasting habits to kind of ease that up. But you want to audit your time so that you get a big picture of where you're spending your focus and what you can replace it with. So I would start with, we'll just do the 3 days, for example. You get a sheet of paper and you mark up 3 days. You have your start time be whatever time you usually wake up, end time, whatever time you usually go to bed, right? And in between, you just assume sleep. And I would start writing out like fixed things that you normally do, right? So it could be taking kids to school, going to work, making dinner, like stuff that that's already routinized in your day-to-day and you don't have to think about. I'll just get those down and out of the way. Then, and I would say it's probably most accurate to you and it's most accountable towards you if you fill it out as you go, like kind of like at the end of the day sort of thing. And mark out, and you want times next to everything so you can quantitatively see how much time you're spending on these tasks. What's taking up your time, right? Because like I'll be honest, like I scroll senselessly on social media way too much. But I would probably end up knocking out like say 30 minutes of mindless scrolling, and I would write it down. Like I just spent 30 minutes around this, right after lunch, just doom scrolling on social media. That 30 minutes could have gone towards something else, right? Let's say I was trying to learn a new subject. That 30 minutes could have gone to me reading instead of me just scrolling on social media. That's the type of thing that we're looking to do with this. So when you're going through your audit, you will get the best out of it by just being honest with yourself. It's not meant to be pretty. It's just meant to be a starting point. And as you progress throughout your fitness journey over the next year and lifestyle changes, you also now have something you can look back on, like this is what my life used to look like, and this is what it looks like now. So you can see that progress. And believe me, that's not a small thing to progress in. Audit your time is step 1. Step 2 is then going to be to create a schedule. Now that you have your time audited for, let's just say, the 3 days, you can now look at where you consistently have extra time that maybe you just don't realize you have, and you can start putting other things into those spots. Or you can start switching up your schedule. Let's say you spend 30 minutes a day prepping dinner, and you could use that 30 minutes for going for a walk instead. Something that reduces stress and increases your daily movement. What you can do instead is, let's say on Sunday, instead of spending 3 hours watching TV with your partner, you can take 1 hour out. You can take that hour and you can prep those dinners ahead of time. That way when it's time to cook, all you have to do is maybe a couple of things like cutting up the meat and seasoning it. Otherwise, everything else is ready to go. You just pop it in, put it in the stove, put it in the oven, in the crock pot, whatever you use, bam, it's done. And now you have more time throughout the week to spend with your partner or your kids or yourself or your dog instead of having to congest it all over the weekend. So step 2 is create a schedule, something that is productive for you and a challenge for you so you can grow as a person through it, as well as something that's flexible for the lifestyle you currently lead as you transition into your new one. Step 3 is start with 1 or 2 new habits a week. Now this step, I will be honest, I did not come up with this step. This is one that I saw a strength and conditioning coach that I know on but I follow her on social media. So I am going to start implementing that. And I thought it was a good tip, so I wanted to share it with you guys in this video. So start with 1 or 2 new habits a week. And the reason I say 2 is because sometimes like 2 habits kind of work together and it'll seem like you've accomplished more throughout that week than if you just did the 1, right? So start with 1 new habit a week. This way you don't overwhelm yourself with new things and you are making steady progress over time, right? We want, like in fitness terms, progressive overload, not trying to shock our system all at once. And then when we're tired and fatigued, we aren't going to just like take 3 days off, which in terms of building habits is very counterproductive. It ends up feeding in our old habits instead of the new ones that we're trying to build. So your first 2 new habits could be eating 3 meals a day and eating protein with every meal, right? 3 meals a day, protein with every meal. Those are 2 habits that you can have separately that'll equate to, hey, boom, that's double the achievement in a week, and they feed into each other. Your new habit could also be go to the gym 3 times a week. Start that on week 1. And you also, doesn't have to be like every week, it could be every 2 weeks, right? You know your schedule best, hence why we just audited our time and create a schedule for ourselves. Maybe you are better off doing every 2 weeks, adding a new habit because you know yourself best. And don't be afraid to challenge yourself with this one though, right? The whole point of this is to grow not only as a person, but in our health. And that's gonna take some discomfort. So don't be afraid of getting a little nervous when you're making these calendars, like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, it's a little difficult. Good. It should be. That's how you know it's the right thing to be doing. So kind of rolling off of step 3 is going to be step 4, which is progress each habit like a goal, kind of like we just talked about. So when you have a big goal in mind, right, and we'll talk career-wise, because a lot of y'all are going to be like career women, like we know what's like to set a goal. You have a big goal, let's say it's to graduate college. Your goal is to graduate college. You're not gonna graduate college within your first year of being there, right? That first year being there, your smaller goal is to pass freshman year, right? Be passed into sophomore year. That's a smaller goal. And then below that, to make sure you pass freshman year, I'm gonna go to study group 2 to 3 times a week. I'm going to review my notes every day after class and ask questions with the teacher. I'm going to right? Those are habits feeding into a larger goal, which is feeding into the overall goal. Treat your habits the same way, right? By progressing them. So not only just the amount of habits you have each week, but how much you're expecting from each habit every week. So let's say a new thing you're trying to do is go for runs. Let's say I'm going to start running once a week and do that for a month. Then after a month, I'm going to run twice a week. Then after that, I'm going to run 3 times a week because I want to get better at running. So that's what I mean by progress them like a goal, right? Running is a new habit, but I hate running and I'm bad at running. So I have every reason not to be I don't want to say every reason not to be a good runner. But to me, right, as someone who's not a runner, I have every reason not to be a runner. So I'm going to work with myself rather than against myself. Like, hey, let's start once a week. And I'm going to hold myself to it. Once a week for 1 month. Then I'm going to do it twice a week. and then I'll do it 3 times a week. So I'm going to progress it like that. And then I'll also, to take it a step further, I'll progress the distance, right? And if I need to adjust it, then I'll adjust it, which is gonna go into our next step. So step 5 is more of like a mental thing, but just be realistic with yourself, right? Yes, aim high. Try to challenge yourself. But if you haven't run a mile since high school, don't sit here and be like, I'm gonna run a mile in sub 10 minutes. Are you gonna hit that? Probably not. And then you're probably gonna end up discouraged from wanting to do it again, because it's gonna be a while before you hit a sub 10 mile. Now, I'm not saying that shouldn't be a goal, but maybe put it out a little bit further, work your way up to it, right? Be realistic. We don't want to set ourselves up for mental failure before we've even given ourselves a shot to succeed. Also understand that it is going to take real effort some days to get it done, okay? There are going to be more days than not. Once the motivation and the initial, oh, I'm finally gonna do it, I'm gonna spend time with myself, I'm gonna do it for myself, I'm gonna get myself in shape, I'm gonna do it for my kids, do it for my partner. That doesn't last. That feeling, it does not last. Now you should hold on to it, because whatever your reason is, you're gonna need to choose that reason over your need to be comfortable or do what's familiar or do what your body initially wants you to do. Like, it's cold outside, I don't wanna go for a run. Go anyway, because I wanna be alive for my kids to grow up. That needs to be stronger than your want to be warm and cozy in your bed. It is going to take very, very real effort on some days. So you need to make sure that you do it, especially when you don't want to. The day that you do not want to do it, every part of your body is like, I don't feel like it, I'm tired, I was doing it, oh, I did it like 3 times a week last week, I've been on a roll, what's gonna happen if I miss one day? I'm not saying that you are going to fail if you miss one day. I'm saying those days are when it matters the most to build the habit. Are you going to hit every day for the rest of your life? No, it's unrealistic. But hit them more than not, and you will be fine long term. That's really it. Pretty quick video, pretty simple platform, right? So just to rehash, step 1 is audit your time, understand where your point A is in order to get to point B. 2 is create a schedule that works for you, your lifestyle now, and your transition into your future lifestyle. 3 is start with 1 or 2 habits a week or every 2 weeks, progress it like a goal, which is step 4. And then step 5 is to be realistic and understand it is going to be hard a lot of the time. But that is the best time to practice your discipline and practice loving yourself and choosing a higher reason than your comfort to do better for yourself and to get that thing done. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you got something from it, leave a like, hit subscribe, go to the comment section. You know the deal. Let me know what you got from it. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see regarding fitness, health, lifestyle, anything like that. And I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.